Ever been a part of a community that just loves a game? Like, they enjoy every second of it. The world, the characters, the controls, it was perfect.
Down to the last minute details.
You get it. But there is that one section that everybody hates, that one section that everybody mocks, that one section that if everybody got their way, would be removed from the game. So that's what I'm going to be talking about today. Hi, I'm Spider-King326, and I'm stuck in space. Anyways, in order to structure this video, I have made 3 rather broad categories on how these levels earn their reputation. Because remember, these sections can't be the regular boring type of bad. They are the memorable type of bad. Also, these are mostly from games I have played, and also my opinion. Part 1, Repetition. Dick! The library? Where are the books? I'm still stuck in outer space. It's pretty easy to remember something when you're forced to look at it for a billion years. While Halo Combat Evolved is well known to have a problem with repetition, the library is where it's taken to the most extreme. With 4 long-ass floors composed of identical gray hallways, and with tons of enemy spam all honing on you like a moth to a flame, a Minecraft YouTuber to a child, a Halo player to the noose in their basement. I don't know, man, I try to keep it relevant. And sometimes you have to wait for like a minute for 343 Guilty Spark to open the door.
I am a genius.
But the thing with this level, it is fun for like the first couple of minutes running around with a shotgun, blasting away all the flood that does the thing. But man, after a while, it really shows how this level just can't sustain its own length. The only things that really change things up being Sentinels fighting for you, and when a rocket flood shows up and one-shots you. There are other Halo CE levels that copy and paste the geometry, most notable being Assault on the Control Room, with its famous bridge into room combo. But the difference here is that there's actual variety outside of the repeated parts, and the Covenant as an enemy faction, being far more dynamic and varied, can sustain these copy-pasted sections much better than the Flood. While very much being a change of pace for the Covenant, are pretty one-note. But, you know, I wonder what the devs of CE think of it.
Man, even further, this level is really long.
Yeah. It is.
Yeah.
Oh, they don't like it too. In IGN's video, Halo Combat Evolved devs react to speedrun. They mentioned how the library was a lot more ambitious, where it didn't have as many walls as it does currently, and instead of ascending, you are descending to the index, showing off both the scale of the place and your progression through. And most interestingly, the Flood was able to jump through layers to get to the player, which kinda lines up with their appearance in later games. They got mad hops. However, since the original Xbox didn't handle this library, they had to put all the walls up. Another fun fact from this video is that in this line here,
I am 343 Guilty Spark.
it originally said 344 Guilty Spark, but changed to 343 in post. And if we're just listing off fun facts now, did you know in the entire universe, besides this area right here, there are 0 pedophiles? What the fuck is that image? Anyways, crazy how the library is the one that lives in infamy, when Halo 3 has a level that's straight up worse. Cortana is just like the library, instead of the gray hallways was like the worst color ever, and instead of the one-note flood from CE, it was the worst enemy in the video games ever. Along with constant interruptions from Cortana and the Gravemind, which is a game-wide problem, but it's most extreme here. I don't know why these inhibit your movement so much instead of like talking to you.
Follow me, you're gonna love this.
Also, it doesn't help that Halo 3's writing can just be like that sometimes.
I'm a thief, but I keep what I steal.
Don't all thieves do that? Like the library, and like me, this level had a pretty troubled development, with many different concepts being scrapped. And the level we did get originally being that destroyed Covenant cruiser at the end of Floodgate. You know, the one you visit for like a second, then Guilty Spark shows up and says he's chill like that now, even though he wasn't chill like that now. That explains why Floodgate is so short, and why Cortana looks nothing like High Charity, even when the level canonically takes place there. Which is quite disappointing because High Charity was a cool environment in Halo 2. Other levels that fall into this broad category are Water Hazard from Half-Life 2, Kinda similar to the library and how it's a change of pace that drags on for way too long. It was also made fun of by the devs in an IGN video.
This whole section's a lot longer than I remember.
Yeah, I think well, I'm getting less sick.
Well, no one thought the airboat section was too long.
Anyway, speaking of water, like all platformer water levels belong here because of how slow they can be. Aside from when in good games like the modern Rayman games, where they give the main characters 50-minute swimming lessons every Saturday, and if one person does a flip turn during breast or butterfly stroke, we're all doing blanks. Back. Also, like every single slow auto-scroller level, every bad multiplayer map, because you're more likely to replay a multiplayer map than a single-player level, unless you're like speedrunning or something. Overly long tutorials, overly long runbacks to bosses, and escort missions, especially where you have like a constantly moving NPC that moves at a speed where like you can't walk to them because like they're going too fast, but you can't run. Pull up the tweet. Pull it up. Another fun fact about the library before we move on to category 2 was that I was actually there. I wasn't there for long though. I found a ship there to escape. The ship exploded though, and that's how I got stuck out here. Part 2, a dumb gameplay gimmick or gay playing section that differs on the main gameplay loop. That just kinda sucks. Something can be pretty memorable when you give it a face. Something tangible you can associate the level with, and not bland hallway number 47. As well, it gives you something to easily point at and say why the level sucks. Think like a unique level gimmick, unique control scheme, unique way to move your hands. Hi Mario Galaxy. Look, I'm usually a motion control apologist. I like aiming with the pointer. I don't mind shucking the Wiimote when I have to spin. But like, come on man, with the manta riding, the ball, dude, it feels so jank and unwieldy to control. This is kind of the thing with these levels, especially with the different control schemes and control methods. They're gonna be less polished than the main one, for obvious reasons. And another problem the more radical of these levels face is just not being what the fanbase expects or wants from the game. The best example for what I'm talking about here is in this Reddit thread, where someone is asking basically the premise of this video, and someone mentioned the parts where you play as Mary Jane in the modern Spider-Man games, which I have not played, and yep. That's my point. This hurts especially when it's like used for an overly long time, which was the last section, and even more especially when it's difficult. Personally, I like my difficult sections as tests of the game mechanics, or some weird little puzzle with them. But when the game changes its mechanics and makes it difficult, it feels like the game is pulling the rug right under my feet. And instead of it being like hard floor, it's like a pile of like dead babies. My point is I don't like it, okay? I'm gonna keep this short because this is a secret meme level. But I hate 4-S, man. I respect the effort of basically making an entire different video game as a joke. But the joke should have been, wow, that's crazy. Anyways, here's a suicide note from God. Man, I love tonal whiplash. Not, wow, how quirky. I'm going to kill myself. And here's a twit longer from God. Like the other secret levels in the game, they're all pretty easy besides 7-S. Just talking about the parts that play like actual Ultra Kill. Not the haha funny bit, which is also pretty easy, which is good. P1 sucks to control in this level. He's so slippery. I have zero depth perception. I hate every enemy here. Virtues and Raging is like the worst thing ever. I have zero depth perception. The cam out won't work with me. I have zero depth perception. But hey, it sure is funny for the first 3 attempts. Anyways, for an example that isn't a joke level, here's Long Night of Solence from Halo Reach. I know, another Halo level. But I hate the Saber section, man. Get me out of this dumb car. Also, fun fact on the Master Chief Collection, because of the higher FPS being tied to tick rate, the enemies for some reason are much more aggressive here. But these levels are a bit dramatic. But what if instead a game tried to push so many dumb ideas down mid so hard for genuinely no reason? Well, it'd be called Super Mario Sunshine. Why is this game like this? Like, I think the difficulty of the pachinko machine is way overblown. Maybe I think this way because I play video games and read webtoons all day, but even still, I get it. It's the same pulling the rug from under your feet thing I mentioned earlier. Nothing in the game prepares you to deal with the game's physics system like this. Also, I don't think the game itself is prepared to use its own physics system like this. Then the game goes, oh hey, what if we put you in a dumbass stinky boat that sucks to control? For like 2 levels. One of them's the final level of the game. And the other one is even worse!
I have a great idea.
How about you push a giant watermelon with the single most janky physics that fucking kills itself whenever it gets its feelings hurt, like a fucking... Hey Super Mario, do you want to position yourself at a certain angle so this NPC can throw you to this island 20 miles away? I said earlier that the difficulty of the pachinko machine was way overblown, but all the shit thrown at the Chuckster level is deserved. Gigi Mitosis, explain yourself. Thank you. I don't know how to explain it, but this feels like a ROM hack level. Like, what are these Piantas doing here? Should I call 911? The police exist on this island. They can rescue these people. Sunshine does like a hearty effort to like make you feel immersed in this world. Then it just puts a bunch of people in the void, I guess. I met a Chuckster in real life. Threw me up so high I got sent into space. That's how I got stuck up here, actually. Part 3. Disappointment. Like me to my 2 lesbian moms. Simple concept. If a section has a ton of buildup and is bad, it will stick in people's minds. The most simple version of this concept is a bad ending.
Say that again.
I mean, you can see the entire game as a build-up to the ending. Or should I say, zending, the zending at I hate Zen. Or I guess Half-Life 1's final 4 levels. Because they all take place in the border world, Zen. But because the level name Zen is literally one room for some reason. Oh boy! Zen! The home world of the aliens I've been fighting this entire game! Surely this moment to which the entire game has been building up towards will have an environment that is deeply interesting and not a bunch of disconnected rooms. Surely! I mean, the factory and the dead people in the HEV suits are cool examples of environmental storytelling, but the rest is rather dull. Crazy how this level has aspects from the last 2 parts of this video, but dragging on way too long, and focusing on a dumb gameplay gimmick. In this case, first-person platforming. In a game with extremely stringent fall damage. My favorite. Also, residue poisoning has that problem. Might be even worse, because you don't have the long jump, but shh. I think everybody knows that Zen was extremely rushed. Half-Life 1 had a very tenuous development cycle, releasing a full year after it was originally meant to. So when they got to Zen, they were like, shit, we have like 1 week to make the game. Make the fucking healing chamber that heals you, make it heal like 2 health per hour. I don't know. Just make sure you can't choose encounters with it. And then they got to like the 9th, and they were like, I don't know, man. Have one of his attacks send you to the Roblox obby dimension. I don't fucking know. But hey, the room leading up to the 9th looks pretty rad. This is so cool. I can base my entire personality around this. Another example of a disappointing ending is Halo 2.
Master Chief, you mind telling me what you're doing on that ship?
Sir.
Fuck you! I guess we're going through all of these. Like Half-Life 1, Halo 2 had a pretty fucked development cycle, where its original ending got moved and morphed into Halo 3. So the Halo 2 that got released just kinda ends. I don't think I need to explain to you why people don't like an unsatisfying cliffhanger ending, right? Another easy way a session can be disappointing is kind of a mirrored version of the second part of this video. But instead of doing something completely different from what fans expect from the game, it does do it. It just completely fumbles. An example here is like the dungeons from Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdoms. What sort of thought was Divine Beast first? The most eye-catching problem with the Divine Beast is that they all look the same. Vah-Ruda looks unique at first with it being dark, but then you turn the lights on and it's back to the bland color scheme of the other 3 beasts. They all share the same gimmick of controlling the beast from the map. They all share the same enemies, and even like each dungeon boss looks the same. Even if they have like different moves or something, aside from this guy, they all just kind of blend in together in people's minds. When Talk came out, it fixed some of these problems. Like, the dungeons look different from each other now, along with the bosses. But now, all the bosses aside from like this one are piss easy. But Colgate here at least understood the assignment, and like aura farmed the entire fight. But hey, I like the theatrics. But Tears of the Kingdom, like it did to most of Breath of the Wild's problems, still didn't fix the main problem with these dungeons, only the superficial parts. And this main problem is their structure, or lack thereof. With both these games having this activate 5 or 4 terminals or whatever the fucks around the dungeon in any order and then fight the boss, it makes the dungeons feel rather disconnected, with the puzzles not being able to build off each other, since they can be done in any order. Compare that to an old Zelda dungeon, with it usually being much larger, having it so you slowly unravel the dungeon, with each small key, certain actions, then a large portion of the dungeon opens up with the dungeon item, making the entire dungeon like a large navigational puzzle. Compared to the dungeons of old, the open world Zelda dungeons feel rather flat. They don't have small keys or a dungeon item. Tears of the Kingdom kinda has dungeon items with the sages, but you get them before you enter the dungeon. They have pretty little connective tissue between puzzles. The dungeon with the most is the Tears of the Kingdom Fire Temple with the minecarts, but you can easily cheese that with Tears mechanics. And the Water Temple saw this and just gave up, I guess. I don't know what happened here. I walk into the Tears of the Kingdom Water Temple and go, oh boy, I can't wait to see how much temple this temple has. Hope it's 100% whole temple. Then the Water Temple goes, oh, sorry to inform you, but we have 0 temple here. What do you mean you have no temple? Sorry man, we got 4 disconnected shrine puzzles and a gap to put a funny gif inside of. And then I cry. Straight up the worst dungeon in the series, out of the ones I've played. You know what? Screw this place. I'm going home. And that's how I got up here. So yeah, those are some hated levels in beloved games. So what now? What's the takeaway? I mean, they exist, but what do we do with them? Took you a while to show up, huh? You're literally in the thumbnail for the video. Now, it's not that complicated to see why this temple is so hated. Yeah, that's it. However, intensifying the problem of switching to the Iron Boot. Yeah, I get it! The complexity of the dungeon itself. I mentioned earlier that the older Zelda dungeons were like large navigational puzzles. In Ocarina of Time, the Water Temple is the one who pushes it to the most extreme. With the changing of the water levels and its maze-like design, it could lead to frustration trying to figure out where you need to go and what level to put the water. Spending so much time just traversing the temple have to... I think you get it by now. May just forget what you need to do and go to an area you can't access yet, because like maybe you don't have a small key or something. It's back to the pause chambers with you! Why do I mention this temple here and not like in the first part of this video? Oh shit, I should. You know how like the biggest problem with this temple is how... Stop! Yeah, the 3DS remake kind of fixes that. You don't have to pause to switch the boost, it's just like a regular item now. Along with that, it's now labeled where you need to go to change the water levels. When I first played Ocarina of Time, it was on the 3DS version. I was kind of dreading the water temple. I feel like the main problems were fixed in this version, but the temple still has its reputation, okay? However, the water temple ended up being my favorite dungeon in the entire game. I don't know, man, I just like figuring out what water level the temple needs to be at to progress. Water temple really gets to shine when it's able to put the player's navigational skills to the test. And not whatever this is. Well, I may not be like the biggest fans of remakes, especially faithful ones. I think the effort should be placed in a new game. But if they do exist, this is how they should be done. There should be like the point of a remake. Sticking to the same base game, but patching up any major hiccups that may be there. Or be like the Resident Evil or Final Fantasy VII remakes, where they're like basically a different game. But those are a different thing, okay? Another example of this is the Thousand Year Door remake, with adding this room that makes it much easier to fast travel, which helps with a late game fetch quest, where you have to go through every major area of the game to get this asshole. Or like Zen and Black Mesa, where it's completely overhauled, and they did this to the Nylons. I'd much rather a remake do this than add a weird forgettable side mode and barely change the base game aside from visuals. Now, is there any game that I mentioned in this video that's getting a remake soon? Halo CE, 343, Halo Studios, whatever you are, might not be as thick-skinned and big boned as I am, but can you, like, please remove, like, a floor or two from the library? Like, the game isn't a completely faithful remake anyway. Master Chef here is holding an energy sword. You can't do that in CE. Also, there's, like, a rumored Ocarina of Time remake. I don't trust it, but if it is happening, please don't be like the Pokemon remakes and be based on, like, the worst version of the game.
Include any Pokemon Platinum features. Pokemon Platinum.
Kill my grandma, okay?
Just thinking of this made me so excited. I jumped so high, I ended up in space. Get it by now. I did this joke 3 times already. I'm going home.